Hi everyone, I'm SongYi, and I'm an extension agent in agricultural finance, working for University of Hawaii in CTAHR. And my work related to the agricultural finance. So if you have any question regarding like farm record keeping or loans, grants, um, so anything related, you can reach out to me and I can help. But for this presentation, I will introduce farm record keeping. So why we need to do and provide a record keeping book that my team created. So my team created the record keeping book as a part of the grant project. So my team includes Andrea, Matt, Stuart, Rosemary. So Rosemary is here. I saw you. So thank you for joining. And so this is funded by Western ERME and USD NIFA and University of Hawaii Cooperative Extension. So we mainly focus on the coffee industry for this project, but the record keeping book also can apply to general crop farms. So today, I will introduce why we need to keep records. So I know the financial or like money related is not a fun topic to many of you. When you need to plot, the calculators, sometimes it's stressful, right? But it is important, right? And the second, I want to do an overview of the workbook with some examples. So why we need to keep records? So record keeping is 100% for your benefit. It is not just for the IRS or the state. It is about you knowing exactly where the money is coming and going so that you can keep more of it. So if you keep of the financial records, then you can, so after you sell your products or crops and you know how much you earned, it's going to be the revenue, right? And then you can subtract the cost of production. Then it will give a profit. So if you have a negative profit, then you may bear with it in a short time. If it's just 1 year, maybe you can use your asset. But if you have a negative profits in a longer term, then you need to decide whether you lease your land to someone else, or you can sell your land, or you can switch up to a crop which may give a higher profit. So track your profits helps your decision making. So record keeping supports the planning decisions. And also it complies with legal requirements. So you have to also report tax by April 15, right? And also if you apply any like crop insurance or like loans and grants, they they will ask you your record keeping. So if you are a beginning farmer and if you don't have much records, then it could be understandable, right? And because especially a beginning farmer, they don't have a revenue, not earning money. But if you have been farming over like 5 years, then if you don't have any records, then it could be like questionable, right? And yeah, so so these are some examples using your records. So you can use your records for your farm management and planning. And if you report your taxes, you need records. And if you apply for any government programs or like loans and credit, and you can use your records. And here I want to highlight the leasing agreement. I know like some farms, they lease their land out to someone else, but they just shake their hands like deal is done. No, I really, really highly recommend to keep track lease terms and deadlines and rent payments. So if you, let's say, um, after you lease your land out to the leasee, and let's say that person lease your land to someone else, that's gonna be sublease, but that's not the one that you expected, right? So if you live close to your farm, I mean, it could be fine because you know, like someone else is managing your land. But if you're living far from your land and you don't know what's going on, it's gonna be problematic, right? So I really highly recommend that you write the leasing agreement with your leasee. So this is the resource from Go Farm. So this is resources for Hawaii land owners and farmers. And for example, the Ag Lease 101. This is the website created by North Central Farm Management Extension Committee, and they have lots of educational materials and also have a lot of like lease agreement templates. For example, like pasture rental agreement, like crop farm lease, or like leasing farm equipment. So you can check the website, or you can also check the templates, example templates here. So you can go through and then check what kind of information are recommended to include in your leasing agreement. Okay. So record keeping takes time, but please make it a habit. So write down events when they happen before you forget. And you can use just notebook or you can use a smartphone and pull up the memo and then write. And also please keep your receipts. You can put all your, so after you buy fertilizer or pesticide, and you will get a receipt, and then maybe you can keep that into a box, or and also you can take a picture. So just in case you lose your whole box where you store all your receipts. Okay. So now I want to introduce the record keeping book. So this is the cover page of the book, and you can scan the QR code to download this book. And the left-hand side is for Hawaii coffee farms. This book especially include for coffee pest management section. But the right-hand side, this is a general record keeping book for any like crop farms. So it does not really fit to livestock uh, or like ranchers, but more fit to a better fit to the crop farms. So you can scan this one if you want, and let me move on to the next page. So what contents are included in this book? So there are 5 different sections: farm description records, daily activity records, crop management records, and coffee pest management records, and finally the financial records. And how we can use each section. So the first farm description records, I recommend you complete this section just one time and check and update whenever there's any significant change on your farm. So let's say if you expand your land to plant more trees or crops, then you can update. And yeah, we'll go over like what kind of forms are included in each section. So let me move on to the next one, daily activity records. So please keep track of your daily activity into it can be, as I mentioned, any forms. It can be your small notebook or journal or smartphone. And you can transfer this information to crop management records or like coffee pest management records. So this part is more related to how you manage your farms. So if you apply any like fertilizer or pesticide, or if you collected sample, like leaf sample or soil sample, and then you got results, then you can keep that records into this section. And last section is financial records. So it's all related to money. So if you have any revenue, and also if you spend money to buy some inputs, and also like tax or loan information, you can include in this section. So it will ultimately help your business decision. So let's look at the farm description records first. So this section consists of 5 different forms. So farm map, important contact information, field information. Field information includes the location of the field or size of the field and variety and soil type. Because if you have more than one field, then the management or crops planted or the climate is pretty different from the other one, then it is good to keep records of the characteristics of each field. And also orchard inventory and building and equipment inventory. So I will introduce only a few forms because of the limited time. So for example, the farm maps. So it's a visual records. So you can draw your farm map using simply just, hand drawing. It can be PowerPoint drawing or more complex style using aerial photo like GPS. So you can scan this QR code if you want to create your farm map using simply the Google map. So you can measure the size of your plot, and if you want to measure specific block, and also you can measure the size. And this QR code will guide you how to create your farm map step by step. And if you need any help creating your farm map, reach out to me. I can help you to create one. Okay. And another form is orchard inventory. So you can provide total counts of the trees in your orchard by age. So you can write down the date planted and number of like trees planted and area. So especially for coffee trees, I recognize some farms are losing their trees and they're dying. Sometimes it's because of the Namato issue. Then you can write down like how many trees you're losing. Then you can keep track of how significantly you're losing your trees. Then if you're losing too many trees over time, then you need to think about like how you can manage that, right? So it's good for that purpose as well. The next one, daily activity records. So I suggest to keep these forms or your own way every day before you forget. So this section includes daily activity log, field activity log, and calendar types, annual, monthly, weekly. And it could be notebook, diary, journal, or it could be a combination. So let me show some examples. So here, daily activity or field activity logs. So again, if you have multiple fields and if your management is quite different for each field, then it is recommended to keep track of your records for each field. So you can write down the date and activity. And if you use any equipment, you can write the name of the equipment and hours used. And also you can write for if you used any materials like fertilizer chemicals, and you can write the name and then the amount you applied. And if you hired any workers, you can write down the number of hours those people worked. And also if you want to keep track of your hours of work, because time is valuable, then you can keep track of your hours here. And this is just an example. And then the next one is calendar type. So you can write your activity for each in every day, and you may need a bigger calendar if you're using the monthly calendar. So these are example, and then the next one is crop management records. So this section includes many forms like field activity log, rainfall and irrigation. And if you collect any sample, then you can write down the results of your sample. And fertilizer treatment, pesticide, and harvest. And if you hire any pickers, then you can use the harvest picker log. So this is an example for fertilizer treatment log. So you can write down the date and the name of the field and the type of fertilizer you use. And you can write the quantity applied. So let's say you apply like 30 pounds a bag of triple 16 to whole your field. Then you can write, 30 pounds, and then if you know the number of trees or the size of your field, then you can divide the quantity by the number of trees or the size of the field, right? Then it will give the application rate. Okay, the next one, pesticide treatment log. So the columns follow the USDA and Hawaii Department of Ag log of the forms. And so pesticides records are required by law, especially if you're using restricted use pesticides and it's for worker protection. So you can write the applicator name and pesticide brand, date and time you applied or the applicator applied, and so on. So it is highly recommend to keep track of your pesticide use. The last part is financial records. So it is related to revenue and expenses, taxes, loans, which help your business decision. So this section includes three different parts: expenses and revenues. And you sum expenses and some revenues to create monthly financial summary. So you can keep track of your expenses revenue for January and uh, and then February and March and so on. It helps you to know the cash flow. So okay, in like July, in January, you earned this amount of money. So money is coming this amount and going this amount. So you can keep track of this cash flow. Um, and also you can sum the monthly financial summary for a 1 year. So it's gonna be annual financial summary. And you can keep track of, you can find trends of your annual financial summary so that you can know whether you're earning money or losing money. So this is an example of the expense and revenue form. And this one, the categories here, so this is revenue, and then these part is for related to expenses. And these categories follow Schedule F. So by April, 15, you need to submit the Schedule F to the federal, and also like general exercise tax to using the G49, I think. So, and if you keep track of your expenses using this type of form, and then it will be easy to uh, fill the form, the Schedule F. This is all, and here are the contact information of my team. And Yeah, and also if you need a physical copy of the record keeping book, let me know. So if you live in the Big Island, it's easy to give, maybe easier to give. And if you visit Komohana Research Center, Extension Center, then I can give it to you. And if you run out the